Hola, this is Senor Shoemaker, and this will be the first in a series of podcasts, webcasts, whatever you'd like to call them, where we hit on some key topics for the AP test. And the reason this is going to be in English is because this is just kind of second level stuff that is key that you may or may not have gone over before. But these are kind of some common errors and how to avoid them. The first topic we're going to talk about is Spanish pronunciation. And some of you may or may not have had pronunciation specifically instructed to you, or it may have been a long time ago. So we're just going to hit on a couple of key common mistakes, and also it can just be a refresher for you. So if you have any questions on any of these, or if you want some more practice, if you feel that this is something that you'd like to improve on, just come and talk to me. I'll be happy to give you some different methods to improve your pronunciation. The first topic we're going to talk about are vowels, because obviously vowels show up a lot in your speaking, and it can definitely be one of the things that can take you from something that's your pronunciation from sounding a little forced to sounding very fluent. And it's something that if you just do a little bit of work, it'll really pay dividends in the end. One of the things, without getting too fancy into pronunciation and linguistics, the Spanish vowel sounds are produced in what's called first positioning of the mouth. So the key thing with this is that you're not moving your jaw. So that's one of the things that you can think about. And that's one of the common differences between Spanish and English. The vowel sound A is one of the most common errors and mistakes that makes you sound very English or American if you're speaking Spanish, and it's also one of the easiest ones to correct and improve your pronunciation. If you say even the letter A in English, you can feel your cheeks move up. If you say A, you kind of smile. And if you say it correctly in Spanish, you're going to say like the word taco. You're saying it at the front of your mouth. And just making that little change, taco, bueno, it's not taco. It's very short. And this is one of the things that you can really improve your Spanish with if you think of taco and using it at the front of your mouth. And the second letter we're going to look at is obviously E. And one of the big ones, it's very simple, but if you pronounce the word bueno, the biggest difference, the common English pronunciation would be bueno. And you put a little bit more emphasis on the UE sound as a way. So a lot of times you'll see bueno. And the E should be said like the E in the letter or in the word bet. So try and focus on that, and again, just make it a lot shorter. The second letter we're going to look at is, and the other vowels that we have are, the I is pronounced like the I in machine, but a little bit shorter, in fino. The O is pronounced like the beginning of O in open, but we don't want to use the ow sound. Final or taco. It's like you're cutting it off. So you don't use like taco in English where you get that W sound at the end. You want to cut that off. And the U is pronounced like the beginning of the U in tuba. But you do not want to make the YU sound, the Y. Like Cuba, we say Cuba in English, but in Spanish it's Cuba. In English, unstressed vowels are normally pronounced with a sound kind of like For example, the word rosas is pronounced rosas. Rosas. So if you have a friend named Rosa, the last part sounds like Z-U-H-S, rosas. Or also buenos dias is pronounced buenos dias. Buenos dias. In Spanish, it needs to be much more clear. So kind of think you're trying to force each syllable. For rosas, it would be rosas. Rosas. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. So you speed it up a little bit, but you're still emphasizing each syllable. Next, we'll move on to combinations of vowels. If you have the I or a U combined with A, E, or O, it's pronounced as one syllable unless there is an accent mark over one of the vowels. For example, piano, agua, Jaime, viuda, oigo, cuota, viuda, ruinas. I did throw viuda in there twice, but it's actually a really interesting one. So just make sure you're smooth with those. Next, any combination of the vowels I or U with an A, E, or O is pronounced as two syllables when there's an accent mark over either vowel. So if an accent mark is introduced, it needs to be two syllables, such as dia, grúa, río, actúa, María, reúne, leí, Raúl, continúe. One of the common ones you'll see might be dia. Dia. You need to put that emphasis on that first syllable, dia. And also you'll hear Raúl, Raúl, Raúl. And that gives the American sounding in there. So if you put that emphasis on there, you'll sound much more Spanish. And finally, any combination of A, E, or O is pronounced as two syllables. You don't need an accent mark. For example, paella, feo, poema, caos, leer. And so you need to make sure you emphasize those different syllables there. And if you try all those, then it'll definitely help your pronunciation. When a word ends with a vowel and the following word starts with the same vowel, the vowel is pronounced only once. And this is going to help you with your fluidez or fluency. And again, that's just how smoothly you speak Spanish, not necessarily the traditional fluency that you're going to hear, like how well you can speak Spanish in general. First example would be Anan dal parque. Anan dal parque. Instead of Ana anda al parque. Ana anda al parque. And the second example would be La casa de Eduardo. La casa de Eduardo. And that's one of the things, this is one of the things that will make you sound very native, and it also shows up as when it's difficult to understand somebody, this is what they're using. One of the most common speech forms that really troubles non-native speakers. So if you can pick this up, you'll be ahead of the game. However, when a vowel is repeated within a word, like two E's or two O's, the vowels are pronounced as two syllables that glide together. For example, leer or coordinar. So you notice there are two different syllables, but they're not quite as strong as if there was an accent in there. One of the common things that you'll you might pick up from English would be the use of the y or w sound, like leer. You don't want that y to sneak in there. Or coordinar, like coordinate. And you can hear that W sound, so try to pull that out. It's leer, coordinar. Another characteristic of native speech that makes it sound much quicker is that words are connected in a stream of speech without a break between words. Common example would be ¿Cómo está usted? And you can hear that instead of saying ¿Cómo está usted?, I brought it together. And if you can practice that, combining words. Another one is Vamos a la piscina a nadar un ratito. And you can see it broken down. There's still syllables in there, but you're combining words to make it flow much smoother. And again, these are just vowels, but if you can make a couple little tweaks on these, it'll really improve your pronunciation.